And these are the things in the pastor's life. Good. Now we'll come in to identify the stresses of these components. Now, workloads. All pastors, you engage in workloads. But this is how you get to know, right, that is actually presenting stress. When you notice that you're doing very well with your workloads, but you notice you have a sleep change and low levels of energy. Once you notice a sleep change, and when I say sleep change, I want you to understand. Sleep change means you are sleeping too much or you are sleeping too little. Right? And that was not your pattern. And many times you sleep too much, you wake up and you still feel tired. So when you have workloads and you are doing, and you notice a sleep change and you notice low levels of energy, track your stress level. Because what it is, you won't stay here. It's progressive. It will move you down to red. Because if you can identify it, you are not in red. Please, do you understand this point I'm actually making? Once you can identify that, oh, I have sleep change. Because people in red, as I said, their case is intensive. Right. So if you can identify it, so let's be so really well identifying this. Yesterday I made a point. If you don't identify this, it's not just about you. Your body language, right? Your tone, your behavior, your mannerisms, it will contribute to actually presenting stress to your wife and children. And there will be people to suffer that a lot more because the confusion will be much more on them. I'm actually thinking that if you're a pastor and you have a stress potential like sleep change and low levels of energy, and then maybe your wife or your children are asking you, Dad, you look quite down today. What do you say? Oh, I have sleep change and low levels of energy. You are likely to tell them, oh, I'm fine. You are likely to actually mask a smile. Right. Masking a smile, it feeds stress. Masking a smile. Now, I want you to understand this. Smile, genuine smile, right? It depletes, it shrinks stress. Genuine smile. Masking a smile, it feeds stress. So when we smile, please, let's make sure it's genuine. Let's make sure it's genuine. Because if we mask that smile, we are feeding the stress. So once you notice a sleep change, I told you how vital sleep is. And it's extremely important. Let me quickly go a bit detail into sleep. Now, I was talking to you yesterday about the different phases and the different cycles of sleep that you need to go through. So we have the rapid eye movement sleep and then the non-rapid eye movement sleep. Now, the non-rapid eye movement sleep, that's what starts your sleep. So it starts your sleep and it moves into the first stage, the second stage. The third stage is a deep sleep. And that's where most people dream. After that deep sleep, you move to rapid eye movement sleep. And that's where you begin to actually replenish your brain functionality and all of that. You need to be able to go through that. By 1 hour, 30 minutes of your sleep, you've gone through the first cycle. Right. And this is very important. Now, one of the indicators for you to know that you are actually sleeping well is when you have a dream. Now, let me make it very simple for you. Don't get frightened. Many times you have a dream, it's just that you don't remember when you wake up. So once you have a dream, even if you don't remember when you wake up, you've hit the whole full cycle. Right. Now, if you can remember your dream, it actually presents the states of your brain functionality, your cognitive strength. Right. So when you sleep and you have a dream, now, not nightmare, I said dream. Because nightmare can be an indicator of your struggle with stress. But when you have a dream, right, that means you went through all the cycles, you actually got to stage 3 of the non-rapid eye movement sleep, and you got into rapid eye movement sleep. And sleep is extremely important. Like I say to you, sleep is medication to the brain and to the whole body. Anytime we sleep, there's a general cleaning right from the brain right down throughout your whole body anytime we sleep. Because our daily functionality, it gets way into all kinds of cock-ups and all kinds of mishaps. So much go on during the day when we sleep. That is the time. That's how God is actually created. The body uses time of sleep to repair us. So when we don't sleep enough, then we don't give the body a chance for that repair. I want to say sometimes we have all nights, sometimes we have half nights. But once you have done that, you should make sure that subsequently you get a good sleep. It's very important. Now, when you're already grappling with stress, right? I haven't come across any such thing among you. But in Ghana, we do 40 days or nights. We do 60 days or nights and all of that. And, you know, health professionals get to actually engage the clergy and they communicate. But you see, our justification is that, the honor, we're doing it for different badges. So the first 5 is for badge number 1. Then the second, so we are not expecting people to go through this whole 60 days. Right. But it's never true. I think you can actually stand by the door and say, you had been here for 5 days, so go home. You can't do that. Please, let's prioritize sleep. It's extremely important, especially when you're going through stress. You know, yesterday Daddy said something that, look, Jesus has died for us. And the Bible says it's a finished work, that is enough. Don't kill yourself. It won't do anybody any good. It won't do anybody any good. And you see, let's love God enough. Be so really dedicated to God enough and allow our love for God to work for us. I'm not sure that God requires that, or God says that if you don't go through 60 days of all night, your expectation will not be met. I'm not sure that's what the theology says. So let's prioritize sleep. Sleep is extremely important. Right. You know, if you sleep less than at least 6 hours, it's not really good for you. You are likely to cave in into red at a time that you do not expect. So please, sleep is medication, especially for stress. And it's very, very important. Now, let me actually use that to actually talk about, because people were talking yesterday about the food. I said when you eat, it can get your sleep hormone to have a boost. Now, there's a hormone that gets you to sleep called melatonin. When that hormone gets slashed down, your sleep will not come. So we don't sleep because we are lying down. We sleep because melatonin is at work. Now, when you notice that you're not able to sleep, what that means is that your melatonin is actually gone down. It could go down because you change your sleep cycle. Maybe for 3 weeks before the time you were not sleeping. So your sleep cycle actually changed. Right. So it could affect that negatively. It could go down also because of stress. Because the stress hormone cortisol, when it gets stuck in an overdrive form, its first attack is upon the melatonin. So you will not be able to sleep. So once you notice you're not able to sleep, now, a couple of things you've got to do. Let me start with the edible influence of melatonin. Now, any food that has got tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid. Let me make it really simple so that it doesn't come across like I'm talking science throughout. We have a food item or a chemical in food called tryptophan. Right. Now, they get to give your melatonin a boost. And let me give you examples of food for which you can actually get tryptophan. Number 1 is banana.